So yeah, thank you so much for joining the webinar with BT Business and RingCentral. So this is the remote working technology tools and positive outcomes for Northern Ireland businesses. So we have today's agenda is as follows. So our host is Paul Convery, head of BT Business for Northern Ireland, and he will start us off. Then we have Peter Trimble from BT to talk about delivering some positive outcomes through technology. Then we have Richard Massey, who's VP of Service Providers for RingCentral EMEA, and he'll take us through how you can leverage cloud to deliver on ROI during this time. And then we'll have an interactive Q&A session where you're all encouraged to participate and ask questions to the panel. So great. So I will pass it off to Paul.
Thank you, Ashima. Good morning, and you're all very welcome to my home here in County Armagh. Obviously, the reason we're having a call in this format is due to the ongoing lockdown, although I won't labour on that this morning. At BT, we're critically aware that due to the current circumstances, businesses like yours have been hugely challenged to maintain trade whilst introducing new home working and collaboration tools for their workforce. I'm very pleased to be hosting this morning on this, the first BT Enterprise webinar specifically designed for our customers here in Northern Ireland. And of course, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to you all and to our partner RingCentral, who join us today. Working productively and effectively from home is now at the forefront of all of our minds, where productivity is critical for our businesses, and it's important for business leaders such as you to have the ability to lead your people effectively whilst working in new and remote environments. We have designed today's session with that in mind, designed to demonstrate some of the collaboration tools that are available to help you to maintain workforce productivity, to keep your businesses up and running, and to make sure that you meet the needs of your customers. Business and market uncertainty is widely prevalent, and a wide range of unknown factors prevail. In this period where business models are being fundamentally challenged, I believe that BT and our partners have a critical role to play in helping to deliver positive outcomes for Northern Irish business. Across both our public and private sectors, we've witnessed an accelerated adoption of technology, where organisations have had to respond to rapid macroeconomic change. Although we will in time return to a way of working that we can describe as normal, future interruptions to regular life may well become a reality, and we therefore need to be better prepared and more agile to respond. For some businesses, an ability to choose from where you serve your customers with increased agility is an outcome that may even become the preferred business model. It is our responsibility to ensure that the technology solutions that are being embraced now will be reliable, robust, and suitable for your organisational needs for the short, medium, and for the long term. Later on our call, I'm delighted that we will hear from our partner RingCentral and their VP for Service Providers, Richard Massey. But to get us underway, I'm delighted to introduce my colleague, Peter Trimble. Peter, our lead solutions architect at BT Enterprise in Northern Ireland, will provide an overview of some of the technological innovations that BT has already provided to our customers, and will guide you through some of the options and requirements that need to be considered for your businesses. In closing, I would like to thank you all for joining us this morning, and I sincerely hope that you find our session both informative and engaging. I wish you all the very best during these difficult times, and that you, your families, and your colleagues remain safe and well. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Paul. Good morning, everyone, and thanks very much for joining the session today. Hope everybody on the call and your families are keeping safe and well. My name is Peter Trimble. I'm a solution architect in BT Enterprise. There is going to be, as Ashima has talked through, there's an interactive Q&A, so please during the session raise any questions, and either they'll be answered at the time, or we can have a conversation at the end of the session. So today I want to talk about some of the positive outcomes that I've seen both in BT and across our customers during the COVID-19 crisis. So despite the hardship that everyone out there is facing, there has been some absolutely inspirational work carried out, and technology and solutions adopted at a rate that certainly I've never seen before. So the guidance around self-isolation, social distancing, travel restrictions, remote working, closure of schools, leisure venues, all of those things having a huge impact on business. particularly retail, hospitality, leisure, entertainment, travel, education sectors. And many successful businesses, especially sole traders and SMEs, are now finding themselves under significant pressure. But in all of that uncertainty, one thing is really clear: technology and progress never looks backwards. How we work and interact with each other in the workplace, I feel, has changed forever. We will never go back to exactly what we had before. I recently heard a retail organisation say that they're expecting 10 years worth of innovation to occur in the next 2 years. And given some of the amazing things that I've seen and I'm going to talk through, and I've seen our customers achieve over just a few short weeks, I have to agree with that and that analysis. So with that in mind, while we need to use technology where we can to manage during the crisis, we also need to think about the medium term and the long term, how work practices are going to change in the medium term and the long term, and to ensure that, as Paul mentioned, all new services that support these work practices need to be delivered in a robust and secure manner, ensuring Northern Ireland has a more agile and better connected workforce, both during the pandemic crisis and after. So as a critical national enabler for the country, everyone at BT is working hard to help keep Northern Ireland up and running during this time, and technology can certainly help us all to encourage positive experiences and positive outcomes for our business, for our businesses, for our colleagues, and also for our customers. So I'd just like to talk through those three things. So first of all, how technology and solutions can help our businesses. So whatever industry we're in, none of us are in business as usual right now. An efficient response to the crisis is only really possible when the right people have access to the right tools, and even more crucially, access to each other. We have seen a massive increase, a huge increase in the use of secure remote access solutions, team collaboration clients, video conferencing, digital whiteboarding, and all of those things are allowing businesses to continue to function remotely. For those businesses that are still hiring and positions that need to be filled are now being facilitated by video interviews, ensuring that we can still make sure that the right talent is being sourced and the right roles being filled. A huge difference has been processes and the ways of delivering service, and they're changing really rapidly. So things that were slow, difficult to deliver in the past are now being delivered extremely quickly. So during the crisis, I've been absolutely amazed at the speed both our business has moved, but also how fast our customers have moved to adapt and to deliver new technology and solutions. I certainly think that in the future, we will ask if we want to go back to the old and slower way of doing things and delivering solutions. And I think we'll learn a lot from what we have been able to do when we had to, and the positive outcomes that we've achieved. So I've talked about how technology can help your business. How can technology help your colleagues? So keeping people connected, making sure that your staff members don't feel isolated, and knowing that they've got the support required to do their job in a new and, for a lot of people, very challenging environment. One-to-one meetings and team collaboration over tools like video, like we're doing now, is absolutely essential to keep people connected and to ensure that employees feel both valued, motivated, and also to support their well-being. So making sure that management are aware of each individual's well-being, personal circumstances, and do they need additional support? Are they anxious, self-isolating, experiencing symptoms, caring for a family member? I think in all of those difficult circumstances, people thrive in interaction. So we need to think about how we can stay connected through virtual coffee breaks, social media chat groups, using corporate social media even, and instant messaging, etc. And also to encourage productivity. I think we all work better and we all work more efficiently when we've got access to the tools required to do our job, and we've got easy access to our colleagues, and we're not in the same building anymore, and so having that access is absolutely essential. And whether we need connectivity to data centers and applications, access to a laptop, tablet, mobile device, or simply just getting access to your colleagues, enabling this could include business connectivity at home, VPN clients, voice, video, unified comms, or instant messaging solutions. And also helping workers just with basic guidance around things like security. Is sensitive material being printed at home? If it is being printed, how is it being disposed of? Can your screen be seen from outside? Can paperwork be seen through your windows or doors? Is your computing equipment, both corporate and personal, safe and hidden from outside view when you're not using it? I think all of those things are very important when supporting our colleagues at this time. And finally, how can technology help with our customers? So irrespective of whether your industry is pharmaceuticals, transport, manufacturing, construction, retail, or others, keeping connected with your customers is more essential than ever. So we need to make sure that our customers can continue to contact us by the usual traditional channels that they're used to, but also by new channels. So things to consider include, can our customer advisors work from home and continue to answer calls and interactions as they always have done for our customers? Can our customers still reach us through those previously advertised channels? And how can we deliver a more efficient service through things like intelligent interactive voice response, automated voice services, automated messaging, or even chatbots? Can we facilitate more online transactions? And how can we keep our customers informed? So technology is absolutely key in keeping connected with our customers. And I'm going to come back in a few moments and look through some examples, both nationally and locally, of where this is being delivered. But next, I'd like to take a few moments just to reassure everyone on a concern that I'm hearing a lot, and that's around our ability to keep you connected at this time. So I'm hearing the question a lot that now that everyone is at home, can the network actually handle the increased traffic from file downloads, from email, from video conferencing? Are we going to hit a bottleneck? Are we going to hit a capacity issue? So there's three areas I'd like to cover just to answer this question. And the first one is BT's core network. So the core network in BT provides connectivity to 11 million businesses across the country. And it has been designed to support critical national infrastructure such as our NHS, our police services and defence. The network is highly resilient. It's been built to world-class standards, and it is designed to never exceed over 50% utilisation. So there is a huge amount of headroom in the network. Secondly, just talking about the increase in traffic from home workers. So even with that exponential growth, and it has been exponential, our busiest time of day on the network remains 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And that is primarily driven by online streaming services and people watching TV, etc. online, and online gaming actually consuming the most bandwidth. So if we look at last year, we had a combination of Champions League football being broadcast from a new provider online, a new online streaming service, and that was on the same night as the new Call of Duty game was released. So any Spurs fans or keen gamers out there might remember that evening. And so that resulted in a load of 17.5 terabits on the BT network, and that is 17.5 million megabytes per second. So the load during working hours has not come anywhere close to that peak. The weekday daytime traffic has increased in between 35 and 60% depending on the day, and compared with similar days on the fixed network prior to the crisis. And the peak we're seeing on that is around 7.5 terabytes or 7.5 million terabytes. So please be reassured that remote working and all of the tools that you're already using and planning to use, such as VPNs, voice conferencing, video conferencing, is fine, and there's plenty of headroom for that to continue to work. So that's the fixed network. Well, what about the mobile network? So perhaps surprisingly, we're actually seeing a decrease in mobile data traffic. There's been a 5% decrease, primarily because a lot of people are connecting their mobiles now to their home Wi-Fi rather than using the cellular network. So data usage is peaking at around 5 p.m., the time of the Prime Minister's daily briefing, as opposed to during working hours. Mobile traffic is becoming much more evenly distributed across the country. So people are travelling much less in the urban hubs, be it London, Manchester, Belfast, etc. And roaming traffic is falling about 10% a day, and that's obviously with a great decrease in visitors coming here. We are seeing an increase in mobile call volumes, which is to be expected. Again, this is well within the levels that the network has been designed to handle. But one tip we would encourage is for customers to use either a landline or IP voice services like BT Cloud Phone, especially for long conference calls and business calls. And finally, we are keeping an eye on everything. So our networks are monitored 24/7 every day of the year from multiple network operations centres across the UK, including in Northern Ireland. The teams are resolving issues before they become customer affecting, and where any capacity issues are identified, upgrades are occurring before congestion occurs. I know that a lot of businesses are also seeing increased congestion on their own corporate private networks, conferencing services, VPNs, etc. And this means that everybody needs to think about how they make best use and they optimize these services, or indeed if they need to increase the provision of services. So I think in summary, we are in a good place to support both your current needs and any additional requirements you may have to support you both during and post the crisis. So I talked earlier about some positive outcomes and how technology can encourage these outcomes. So it has been, for me, an absolute privilege to be involved over the past weeks and months with some inspirational people, both colleagues and customers, who have done absolutely fantastic things under some really, really difficult circumstances and difficult timescales. I'd like to walk you through some examples of that. So first, some of the national examples and then some more local examples. So you'll be aware of the emergency Nightingale field hospital facilities across the UK. So BT have been heavily involved in the effort to stand these up quickly. When the first site was announced at the ExCeL in London, it was announced quite suddenly that that was going to be put to use for up to 4,000 ICU beds. And BT were involved immediately. We delivered connectivity into the NHS networks. We delivered IP telephony. We delivered internet services. We delivered security services to fully kit out that facility from a standing start within 48 hours. It was an absolutely unprecedented effort, unseen certainly in BT before, and the working together from multiple public agencies, private sector organisations to stand up such a crucial service so quickly was absolutely superb. The BT solution lead for this is actually a colleague in Belfast who has taken the blueprint that was used in the ExCeL, and that has now been used in the other Nightingale sites, including Birmingham NEC, Manchester MEN, the Principality Stadium in Cardiff, Harrogate, Sunderland and Glasgow. We are also supporting the delivery of a lot of the new mobile testing centres that you'll be hearing about across the UK through 4G connectivity. I think it's clear that we need these facilities at all. It's a sad reality of the current situation. However, the response by all involved in regards to Nightingale has been truly inspiring. A related project is what is known as the Lifeline service, which is being delivered to ICU wards right across the UK. So the Lifeline service is designed to create a circle of care for patients, for family, and it presents a solution that supports secure text, audio and video communications between ICU wards and families. So critically ill patients who haven't been able to receive visitors up until now, kind of a means to communicate with their loved ones via a mobile device. ICU teams can send status reports and can establish times for virtual meetings. Families can respond to messages just via a mobile app and can use the messaging features to send questions to the clinical teams. This was a clinically led solution. It's a collaboration between multiple partners, including BT, Samsung, Google and others. And again, went from a concept, the initial concept, to delivery in 14 days, which is phenomenal. The aim is to have this service available in every ICU ward in the UK, and BT have already donated 40 devices to ICU wards in Northern Ireland. So again, this was an opportunity to deliver what is a positive outcome from what is a bad situation in a very, very short time scale. Looking at more locally in Northern Ireland, BT have worked with their customers to facilitate tens of thousands of workers who were based in the office just a few weeks ago, and they're now working from home using secure remote access solutions, VPN solutions, providing mobile devices, laptops, tablets, headsets, etc. We have stood up a new video conferencing platform which has delivered over 1,000 hours of video that wasn't there just a few weeks ago. And this has kept individuals and teams connected, it's helped reduce isolation, and it's helped to encourage productivity. We are helping to facilitate regular streamed video events, similar to this one that we're on now, with several hundreds of attendees getting crucial messages out from senior management to colleagues and to customers. These can be recorded, they can be distributed later, they can be shared via social media channels, etc. We have facilitated hundreds of office-based contact centre representatives who are now remotely ensuring customers and citizens can continue to access the information they need while working from home. Bandwidth has been increased for a huge number of customers, for healthcare workers, increased capacity on crucial 999 services, etc. We have supported the delivery of a new system which has been developed, which has enabled over 155 million in emergency payments to small business, which has helped with liquidity, payroll, etc. at such a very, very difficult time. And just one example I would like to call out is one of our local companies in Wineflair. So a local retail company, and they have recently upgraded their voice platform to enable their 59 stores to use telephony from their computers or from a smart device remotely from site. Now, this might seem like a fairly straightforward upgrade at a straightforward new system, but the outcome of this system has enabled Wineflair's customers to call the store, and they're calling the local store number, but they can speak to an area manager who can talk to them on a one-to-one basis, give them the information on store closures, on opening hours, and they can point customers towards their online sales channels. So while store closures may be essential in certain instances, this keeps the customers engaged, and it ensures that even if a local store is closed, they can still have a positive experience and a positive engagement. I think Chris Began from Wineflair is on the call, and Matt Hickey from BT who worked through that project. So well done on that, guys. That's a great example. And just some fantastic examples of working in partnership with our private sector, public sector and health sector customers to deliver those positive outcomes. So the last thing I want to talk about is how we can work with you, so all of our private sector customers in Northern Ireland, to help deliver those positive outcomes for your business, for your colleagues and for your customers, to make sure that you continue to function and thrive day to day. So things like we can provide connectivity to your key workers to be part of that remote workforce, be that broadband, fibre services, 4G services. And as we mentioned earlier, you can be reassured that the capacity is there on both the fixed and mobile networks to support you. And we can help keep you in contact with both colleagues and customers through something as simple as redirected numbers, call routing, call forwarding, to home phones or mobiles to keep staff engaged and to keep your customers connected. We can enable telephony, collaboration apps on your laptops or personal smart devices, giving the same functionality as you would use in the office. This helps colleagues to both perform their role and to stay connected to both their colleagues and to your customers. We can enable smart messaging, so SMS messaging to a small group or a huge batch of text messages quickly and easily to keep customers updated with how your business is operating and get those key messages out. We can perform temporary bandwidth upgrades, so to help with increased demand into your data centers, into your applications, and with the exponential increase in remote access. And we've already had to do this for several customers in NI already. We can add more VPN capacity. So to support the increase in remote working, very few of us ever envisaged we would be at the point where everybody would be working from home, and none of our remote access solutions were designed to support that. We can add more capacity to that, but not only will that help today, but we talked about how work practices are going to change, and not only will that support you today, but it will enable a more agile workforce for your business in the future. We can enable audio and video conferencing to keep you connected, like we are doing right now, and keep you engaged again with both staff and customers. We can facilitate streamed events and keep people engaged with your business as the situation develops. I mentioned earlier, similar to this event, these can be recorded, distributed later. And we can look at contact center functionality. So no longer do your agents, do your customer advisors need to be sitting in an office. They can work from those remote locations and ensure that you continue to meet the needs of your customers, as well as delivering new services like potentially voice recognition, intelligent IVR, and potentially chatbots. We've also published a range of free online courses to help people from working from home. We talked about security earlier. and various other things just around well-being and advice on how to work from home. So these are all available on the BT Business website. So please look those up. So in summary, everyone, there are a large number of existing solutions available. I've gone through some of them there, which are helping us all find ways to drive positive outcomes for our business, for our staff, and for our customers. BT and our partners are at the forefront of this, and I look forward to engaging with all of you further following the event. So thanks everyone very much for your time. I'm now going to hand you over to Richard Massey. Richard's a colleague from RingCentral. He is the Vice President of Service Providers for the EMEA region. Really pleased to have him here today to talk about how cloud collaboration solutions can help you navigate the current climate and help to future-proof your business. And hopefully really relevant for you all at the moment. So thanks again, everyone, and over to you, Richard.
Thanks very much, Peter. Great presentation. I really enjoyed that. It was great to also hear some of the awesome stuff that BT is doing with the NHS in this fight. So yeah, really thank you so much for that. Very insightful. So my name is Richard Massey. I'm the VP for Service Providers in RingCentral. A little bit about my background. So I've been in this industry. People call it now the working from home industry, whatever you want to call it, team collaboration, unified communications, for about 20 years. And for about 15 of those, I've been working from home myself. I've been building teams and divisions who are also working from home as well. And one of the last roles that I had was head of strategy for a global solution integrator. And that's where I found, when I was researching the best solutions in the market, RingCentral, and also the partnership between RingCentral and BT. I thought it was really exciting, so I came aboard RingCentral, and I'm really excited by the partnership that we have. Before I start, I just want to say thank you, Paul, for having me on your webinar. I'm really excited to be here and to help BT customers on their journey to cloud communications. Okay, we know the way that work is right now and the situation we find ourselves in is changed forever. Everyone, by law, is obviously required to stay by home. Even when the lockdown lifts, a lot of businesses, a lot of knowledge workers or office workers that were generally in the office will not be going back to the office as was before. There'll be a lot more working from home. I've said for a number of years, I say that work is an activity, not a place. And I fully believe that. And obviously right now we're seeing that in what I believe is probably the biggest experiment on work lifestyles and work styles and the combination of technology to go with that. And it's not just a technology combination. We're all living this in very different ways. Some people are home alone and they're going through that side of it. Some people have got two parents working, got young kids, trying to balance working whilst teaching their kids algebra or maths. And I'm one of those, and going through that at the moment whilst balancing work is interesting. But having the right tool sets to be able to do that really does enable me to do my job well. So what we believe and what's been said by a number of different analytics, one here is the Global Workplace Analytics, is said that they expect 30% of the global workforce to be working from home multiple days a week by the end of 2021. People will realize that home working can be very productive. And we believe that this will define the industry and define future ways of working. We knew that it was going to come just through efficiencies in working practices over a period of time. It's been growing over a number of years, but obviously it's been accelerated quite some distance in the last few weeks. And businesses will basically look at continuity planning and will mandate new protocols and must-have technologies to basically account for that going forward. So we're obviously in a horrible pandemic, and there's a lot of different estimates around about the economic loss that it will cause. 460 billion is one of those. One of the big things that we've seen, I get a view of a lot of different channels in the market, and a lot of the feedback on the groups that I've seen analysing what happened during, just before and just after the lockdown, was most businesses really weren't prepared for the rise in remote work at this pace. 30% maybe said that they were prepared for this. What we saw immediately was a lot of customers were basically going for hardware. A lot of companies just didn't even have the hardware to get remote working, a laptop, an iPad, whatever it may be. And much like the toilet rolls that went empty in most of the superstores overnight, so did hardware. A lot of the hardware in the stockpiles, in the UK and other places around the world, were all ordered straight away. People were rushing to get just pure hardware to people so that they could have a device to work from home. And then immediately following that, we saw things like Office 365, Google, everything to basically load up onto those devices. And then obviously the team collaboration tools and all of the software to enable effective and efficient home working practices. And what we saw, was basically what went from a nice to have solution where some leaders didn't want to invest in it before. They thought, yeah, it's on my agenda, but it wasn't quite the right time for me. It's now gone to a need to have, just to keep the lights on and the revenues flowing. And then what we saw, so the statistics that we saw within our business were astronomical. So we knew that obviously these tool sets are inherently insurance against the unknown and against disaster recovery, all of that sort of stuff. But almost overnight, in a period of, I don't know, I think it was something like 10 days, our app downloads went up by 300%. 300% is a huge figure. And the meetings usage went up 100%, and messaging went up 70%. Well, what was a great thing about that was when we were seeing these statistics, and obviously everyone was ramping so fast, was that it did not affect our SLA. It didn't affect our availability or the quality of service that we have. And that's testimony to the architecture as well. Many businesses in the UK and elsewhere in the world are still on legacy PBX, old communication solutions. They're costing them a lot, not just in terms of the maintenance they're paying for them, but in terms of how much they're locking them down as a business against a sort of brought together cloud solution. They're not future-proof, they're not scalable, and in the new land of things where work is an activity, not a place, these solutions tend to be on one location only, and they tend to be closed system. The analytics that you can get out of them are not great, they're very basic. And in the new world, we're looking for something that can address all of the communication needs of businesses today. And that includes enterprise grade voice. You can't do all of your business on WhatsApp grade voice and have continual stuttering. And you're trying to get to a single platform, for audio, video conferencing, team messaging, mobile apps, presence monitoring, mobility, personal task management or task management between teams, and all of that integrating into your workflows, things like Salesforce, Outlook, Office 365, whatever it may be. And communication and productivity takes so many more forms than just face-to-face meetings, and we want to address all of those channels. And it's not good enough just to go to a cloud communication solution for voice only or messaging only or video only. A lot of them are siloed. And when you have a siloed solutions, it's quite difficult changing between applications. It's very hard for a business actually to manage productivity and analytics. If all the applications are split and all the analytics are thus split, it's quite hard to actually look at productivity, look up adoption, and the engagement of all your employees who are working from home. When you get that sort of siloed approach to purchasing solutions, you often get departments or people within the company basically going off on their own and just using a communication tool set that they know within their personal lives. We call that, what Gartner calls that, shadow IT. And that's where people are just using their own IT services without the buy-in from the main IT department. Things like WhatsApp, Facebook, whatever it may be, Zoom. And they're using all of that linked to their personal email addresses. And they're not considering the data privacy rules, confidential data being stored, and how that, and how breaches of that could affect their business. Now, it's not to say employees want to do the wrong thing or are trying to expose their business. They're just trying to get their work done in the most efficient manner. And if the company doesn't provide them with the solutions to enable them to do that, they'll just go off on their own and do their own thing, just to make their lives easier. I don't think this needs labouring, but when a crisis hits us like this, we need to be able to mobilise very, very quickly, and we need to be able to adapt overnight. And that basically, looking at the experience that we have to have and what we have to go forward with, is to have a solution that hits a number of different metrics. The first being, it is work, as an activity, not a place. You need to be able to work from anywhere, anytime, any place. You've got to be able to work on any device, obviously. Any mode of communication, anywhere. That's a given. You have to have that. But also, you need to reimagine the experience of the users. A lot of the siloed systems, especially a lot of the old PBXs, they were built ground up from engineers in a very clever way, but they didn't think about the user experience. What Apple has taught us, and other organizations, is that the user experience is absolutely critical to anything that you're delivering in the world, to have fast adoption. If people can't learn the way to use it in a very, very quick manner, they will not bother using it. So something that's very easy to use, something that's easy to buy, scalable per user per month, and something that is very easy to manage is critical. And solutions that aren't, that manage solutions just on a desktop isn't good enough. You need to be able to manage it from your mobile or from your iPad. That's absolutely critical for flexibility in IT to actually look after their customers. And it needs to be reliable. It needs to have a high reliability, business enterprise grade reliability, and it has to be scalable. Again, as we've seen with what happened almost overnight with this pandemic, it has to be able to be scalable and give the quality of service that people deserve. And one of the other really important things I'll come back to in a bit is it has to be open. And what I mean by that is it can't be a walled garden architecture. It has to have APIs to be able to interlink with other systems and other processes within businesses like Salesforce and ServiceNow, whatever it is you're using in your business to run your business. That's absolutely critical. And this is where we come to BT Cloud Work. It's a one-stop solution, basically, for having all of your video messaging and phone capabilities into one easy-to-use application. It has high-definition video, and it'll enable you to get working overnight straight away, easy to use, and completely open and scalable. And this is what will empower a productivity tool set to get your employees working from home as if they were in the office. So within that, we have a mobile-first mindset. So everything is programmed as if the user is working on mobile, and we work backwards onto the desktop. It's exactly the same experience. That's absolutely critical to us for ease of adoption, for just the employees believing that they're using a great service, easy to use. It has to be the same on both devices. And of course, it needs to be able to be integrated into Outlook if you're using that, or Google Mail. You have to have one click to schedule a video conference or an audio conference, and one click to join it, one click to dial a colleague. Everything has to be that simple so that adoption is critical, and that you get the great customer satisfaction scores that we get, which are industry leading. And having that integrated approach with all different facets of communication, messaging, video, calling, you get incredible analytics about how people are utilizing the services. And that's not to mean you use it with a stick to beat them if they're not using video conferencing, for example, they're only just using calling. It could be that you go to people and say, hey, I've noticed you're just using calling, you're not using video conferencing from home. Is everything okay? Or do you not know how to use it? Are you not comfortable using it? How can I help you do that? to get them more engaged is hugely important, hugely important. And the analytics for the business on how everyone's working, basically how to analyze between messaging, voice, and video is really important to analyze productivity and the comparison and the output that they're actually doing in their various jobs. And the other thing to really point out is that you want to be able to start the meeting straight away. In a lot of legacy video conference meetings, basically there were statistics that said it took on average something like 7 minutes to get people going. You had people jumping on bandwidth issues, or it didn't connect, or can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you see me? Those sorts of things that we've seen, a number of things in the past. You can't have that. It needs to be open straight away and getting the meeting started. Otherwise, you lose productivity within your business. You don't need to download software with this. Your customers can just join over the internet, and you can have up to 500 participants. That's very, very cool. It's not like a lot of the freemium services that are out there that generally have a 40-minute meeting cap. I think a lot of them have stopped that during COVID-19, but obviously they'll reinstate that through their business model once lockdown changes. And having high definition video and screen sharing and whiteboard options is critical, again, to getting the collaboration experience of screen sharing and whiteboarding to be part of every single meeting. And this is one of the really key things that I love, and one of the reasons why I think RingCentral is the best in the market. The way that it was architected was that basically we spent a lot of R&D architecting the solution to ensure that we had deep integrations, not just light integrations and skin deep integrations, but deep integrations easily with everything that people could use in their in various companies. We're completely agnostic to everything around us. Our ethos, our culture is we want to integrate with everything. And it's really, it's going to be more and more important as things change. Having that agility and having that ethos to want to integrate with everything and not have any hidden agendas is hugely important. A lot of the technology, the apps that you'll be using probably in 7 years' time, you wouldn't have even heard of. A lot of these companies are coming out of Silicon Valley, same like us. They're customer experience, user experience centered, and they're coming up with innovative ways to do things. And that's going to only increase. And it's so important for understanding workflows and understanding technology stacks within each organization. Each organization has individual apps and processes that they're using. It could be ServiceNow, as I said, Salesforce, or other things. And having something that truly integrates with all of those to get productivity up and to stop switching between apps, because that costs time as well when you have a multitude of apps within workplaces. So having all of these integrations is massively important, but it's only important if they're easy to put together. You can't have developers, and rely on developer IT staff to put all these together. Most of our integrations, and there's over 100 of them, they're plug and play. Okay, you just download and install it. That's it. It's that easy. But all of this, I mean, you can talk about great applications, you can talk about productivity analytics. All of this is utterly pointless if it's not underpinned by a world-class network. And that's why we partner with BT. They have the best-in-class network with our best-in-class solution. It's 4 nines reliable, to ensure that your businesses are safe as if they're working from the offices. It has 7 layers of security built in from the ground up in the cloud. And one of the things, even though it's very, very highly secure, BT have got some awesome security add-ons, and we I encourage you to have a look at that with your BT account manager. We'll ensure you get a copy of this after the webinar, but we've created a checklist for our customers to go through and captured all the different business requirements. It's not just about all of the technology and just getting a solution together for home. I think personally with this, that's actually the easy bit. It's getting all of the other elements putting together, the working from home policies, the guidelines, the reporting metrics to ensure that you've got people engaged and things like that. Ensuring obviously, that everything is transferred correctly from the legacy solutions, and ensuring that you've got each different department getting their requirements put together, because each individual department often does have different requirements. So getting all of that together, the checklist of what you've got to do, we've made that really simple. We've been doing this for a very long time, and we've put it together with the best practices that we've seen globally. And you can get that from your BT account manager as well. So one of the key reasons before why there was very good adoption going to cloud working solutions, but it could have gone even faster. And one of the reasons was mostly privately owned companies were afraid that their employees wouldn't be as effective from home as they would be from work. A lot of public entities and NASDAQ and FTSE companies made this transition a lot faster. So there's so much research out there today that talks about remote working and how it increases productivity. Now, I'm not saying that people, it's ideal to work from home 5 days a week, 100% of the time. You have to have social interaction as well, and nothing beats being face to face, with a group of people to go through ideas, workshop ideas. But the majority of the time, there's no reason why you cannot work from home. As long as you've got great tool sets, you've got the great culture, and the employees understand the accountability, the expectations of them. As I said before, I've been building teams for a very long time, and my philosophy is that if an employee is unproductive or disengaged, they'll be so from the office or at home generally, as long as you've got the right tool sets and the right structure and governance in place. If they're going to be a high performer, again, they'll be so from home or office. And I chalk up employee performance really to the hiring strategy more than the flexible working policies. There's a ton of supporting content. We'll ensure, again, you get all of these links after the webinar. It's really important to understand the greater cultural shift to flexible working, remote working, how to run good video meetings, how to keep people engaged, how to communicate with them, all of these sorts of things. It is a mindset shift to what has been done before for a lot of organizations. As I said, some organizations didn't even have the hardware to go working from home. They hadn't even thought about it. But to do this, it's a little bit to get your head around, but there's a lot of information. And again, your BT account manager, we can help you with all of this. We've done it for so many organizations globally. And yeah, I urge you to talk to your BT account manager about cloud work. There's some awesome abilities with it. One of the things that we love doing is doing demonstrations of the solution rather than just talking it through in PowerPoint. You can show people and you can say, hey, this looks cool. But until people really experience it and see the demonstration and see how easy it is to work from home, how easy it is to get for them to become productive, a lot of the worries that they have in their mind go away. And so we try to get as many demonstrations done as possible. We believe in this solution greatly. And the great thing having this solution with BT is there's great bundling options to network mobility and security. So explore all of these and please engage with the BT sales executive. And lastly, this slide says it all. You can enable your staff to be productive from anywhere. All of the tool sets, all of the solutions that we discuss, they're absolutely fantastic. But what I really would like to, to end on is, it's not just about those. We have to, think about the context of what we're in right now. Each individual worker has their own personal circumstances, what it might be. They could have a loved one, fighting COVID. As I said, they could be alone, living on their own. They might not even have a garden. They might not be able to, and obviously in the UK, we're allowed to go out and about a little bit more. Some countries you can't. They might have children they're trying to teach and need to do different hours. All of this, needs to be taken into consideration, and we cannot forget the human aspect of the interactions that we're having and the policies and the technologies that we're putting into place. But with all of that said, I've got great belief in this solution. It is the best partner, the best network, and we're really excited to have all of you, engaged in this. And with that, I think I'm done. If you have any questions, technical or not, we'd love to hear them.
One that says lead times for broadband installs, both domestic and business. What are they currently?
Tim, probably just a general response to that question. Quite clearly, we're in pretty unusual circumstances, and there has been a prioritization, as everyone would probably expect, to the response and to lead times from Openreach, our partners in Openreach. Effectively, as everyone would probably expect, blue light, critical care services, the likes of Nightingale, NHS and health are absolutely the priority for the country at the moment. That said, any of our customers who are providing and supporting that sector do come in under the umbrella of critical services. It's really a case-by-case view, Tim, and I would encourage anyone who has interest in making a broadband order or requires an increase to their bandwidth for productivity purposes or for servicing critical care, reach out to their BT account manager. In summary, the earlier we can place and get orders and have line of sight for you, the more help we can be.
Wonderful, thanks, Paul. And the second part to that question was, have we seen any renewal interest in WAN optimization products for the access network? So Peter, Paul, do you have any insight on that?
I can take that one, Tim. So yeah, WAN optimization is still a large part of our portfolio and still do a lot of it. And we tend to see a lot more interest in WAN optimization products for our global customers. So when you start talking about taking traffic transatlantic, etc., and the latency can come into the picture and things like that, WAN optimization really does have a place there. Locally in Northern Ireland, we're not doing so much. We're actually a fantastically connected region. We've got huge fibre footprint, high bandwidth, low latency services. So WAN optimization often isn't necessary in an NI context, but as we look at those larger organizations with global footprint, especially as more and more workers are moving to the edge, then yeah, absolutely, we are seeing interest in that area.
Probably remiss of me not to also add that we of course do have a very robust mobility and mobile network, 4 and then 5G coming. So again, we have options and alternatives for broadband if that is required for any of our customers. But again, best protocol is always into account managers and look at all options.
Of course. We've had a couple coming through on the chat. One that's sent to myself was, we've mentioned Zoom a few times, but I have read online that Zoom underpins the RingCentral conferencing solution. So is it secure, given all the security conversations that have been going around Zoom? So I'll answer that one, and then by all means anyone else can jump in with this. Now, you're quite right, the solution that we're using might be familiar to a few of you, because we as BT, in our partnership with RingCentral, do work with Zoom for the HD video meetings capability. Now, the 3 components of security that I want to address, really, that I've seen in the news, and obviously we do want to address, is that we have had risk that Zoom send some of their data through China. Now, I want to alleviate that concern in that the RingCentral and BT Cloud Work conferencing capability, we control our media servers. We make sure that our instance of the solution doesn't go via China, and therefore we, as I said, control the architecture of that to ensure that it does just stay in European mainland. Next, we can see that Zoom, some of the iOS applications were shared with Facebook. Now, obviously, some of the security risks around Facebook over the past couple of years raised cause for concern. From my point of view, we once again have not shared any data with Facebook. Our instance of the Zoom service via RingCentral and Cloud Work meetings ensures that the SDK, so the media sharing components of it that Zoom did send to Facebook, is not part of our solution. Therefore, none of the cloud work or cloud phone data has been shared with Facebook, and therefore we can comply with security on that front. And then the final one is around user activity and more around the principles of using the solution. We know that quite a few people, when they first downloaded Zoom, were quite keen on posting their Zoom parties that they were having on Instagram, on Facebook, etc. And that obviously showed the participant ID, which opened people up for Zoom bombing. Now, the first point I'd point out is please avoid posting on social media any of the Zoom components of it, just to alleviate that completely. But to take it one further, to ensure security, particularly in your workplace, do make sure that you apply the password capability, do ensure that you're only sending the invite to those who want to attend it. And then once everyone's on that call, you can simply lock the meeting so that other external people cannot join that session. So from our point of view in a core architecture, we've done all we can to avoid any security risks on the platform and can separate ourselves away from the security threats that Zoom have been faced with. And plus, we do encourage you, for those with the solution, that actually user participation and active use of the service can alleviate a lot of those concerns just by using simple one-click capabilities within the application that you could probably see here. So this question here that Rich flashed up some of the components about ease of getting access to cloud work. The connect and collaborate were mentioned. What is the difference between those services? Okay, so in cloud work, we have 3 simple packages. That's why we'd like to keep it as simple as possible, as it is important for your business. We have basic, connect, and collaborate. The reason why we've mentioned Connect and Collaborate primarily is because it's only with Connect and Collaborate that you get the conferencing, the HD video meeting solution. So we want to ensure that during this period while people are working from home, that you can optimize your use by working from home with HD video meetings, i.e. this service that we're using here. However, we do have the basic capability, the basic license, which is a bit of a misnomer, if I'm honest. We have a lot of features and bundles capability, even within the basic service. Included in that, we do have the audio conferencing. So if you're not wanting video conferencing, we do have audio conferencing within the basic capacity. And across all 3 licenses, you have the unified app, so you have the capability to have it on your mobile, on your desktop, and if you do want a desk phone, desk phones are available as well. And as Rich mentioned before, we do have a mobile first mentality, therefore it's a similar look and feel across them all. Another key differentiator between that, the basic and the connect, is integration with your Active Directory. I know for larger businesses, the capability to do like some single sign-on and integrate with your Active Directory are crucial in order to ensure that you've got simple user adoption, simple user use. Therefore, we want to ensure that those customers who are wanting those type of capabilities are pushed towards the Connect license, because we really believe that the Connect license will be suitable for most business needs. Finally, to tip to the Collaborate license are for those users who have a lot of external calling, those who are making a lot of external calls to, might be partners, it might be customers, whoever it may be, because within the Collaborate license, we also include unlimited calls to local, to UK landlines and mobiles, as well as Republic of Ireland landlines as well. So if you do make a lot of external calls, the Collaborate license might be for yourselves. So another questions coming through from the chat window. So one there saying, what analytics are available? A lot, and I would strongly encourage you to have a demo. A demo capability will really truly show the analytics capability, but everything from looking at your call logs and being able to see who's called who, what, where, when, why, to being able to stay on top of your employees, understand exactly what your employees are calling, and even to identify any particular calling charges. But that's the basics in my opinion. With cloud work, we take it to the next level. What you can do is you can do QoS analytics, quality of service analytics on every single call made. That allows you to identify if there, as soon as there was a poor call, it might be that someone was stood in the middle of nowhere with poor signal, it will be identified. You can even generate alerts on the back of that to ensure that you are supporting anyone who might have a poor call quality. If you are the IT manager, or you might be a representative of your business purchasing this solution, you want to ensure that adoption is high. And we all remember the days when we used to use Skype or equivalent, and as soon as you had a bad call, you were put off from it. Therefore, we want to empower you to address that. So anytime that there is a poor call made, it is flagged up. The analytics will identify that for you. You can drill into the details to see where the poor components was. Was it on the end user? They might be working from home. They might have poor bandwidth at home. That might be it. Was it that they were actually using mobile capability? As I said, stood in the middle of nowhere, and that's why they had poor quality. All that level of analytics is within the analytics portal to be able to review that for you. Similarly, if you have call groups, you might have campaign codes, you might have components that you want to review how successful your outbound call teams are, inbound call teams are. All that analytics is within there as well, and you can take it one further by having wall boards. So with our live reports add-on, you can get wall boards, real-time wall boards, to show significant KPIs, SLAs, such as how many calls are in queue, how many agents are available, how many are on the phone. You can do analytics into whether you're hitting particular KPIs, such as answering the phone within 20 seconds, all from a live real-time wall board. And because it's browser-based, you can access that anywhere. You don't need to be sat in an office with your call recipients. They could be working from home, answering the phones where they need to be, and you can view that from the luxury of your home as well.
Hey, Tim, we have a new question in the chat. This is a fun one. I'm going to direct this at Richard Massey. Steve Jobs was a great believer in the value of social interaction and creativity it delivered. How do we inspire people working remotely from their back bedroom?
That's a great question. It's yeah, very cool. I've got I'm a massive believer in a lot of what Steve Jobs did. I spoke about him earlier. The value of social interaction is hugely important, and I think people should really understand that from how they're living right now. People are craving social interaction generally because they're being locked down. You know, really, as long as you've got a good working culture, and it's a fun working culture, it's an open working culture, they should really want to be able to work from their back bedroom or kitchen or wherever it may be. And that's not so much the tool sets that they're utilizing, that's more the culture within your organization. You know, we use these solutions to stay very interactive with a lot of our teams and across the business. And not all of that is work. I mean, someone said that. You know, what we do is we have lunch hangouts where people can chat. We're doing virtual cooking classes. We're doing pub quiz nights, things like that, or just a social get-together, you know, in the early evening. And we find that that engagement is hugely important to people's mental well-being. And again, as I said, if the culture of the organization is right, it's open and there's a good working culture, trying to get people to interact socially over these tool sets is hugely important. It's hugely important. And they'll realize that, you know, the longer this goes on, the more they'll crave that as well. And if they do that and it works, you know, well within the interactions, and you're on a solution that, you know, that works so easily, they'll want to do it again and again and again. So I hope I've answered that.
Yeah, no, that was great. Thanks, Richard. I'll just top up myself. I've been working from home for almost 6 years now. And I can say that working from home versus working from home in a pandemic is definitely very, very different. Definitely the situation we're all in right now is much more stressful than what I used to experience working from home. And one thing I will say is I'm grateful that at least, like, you know, as much as there's difficulties in this situation and you know, the limitations on what we can do, I'm grateful that the technology isn't failing me. The technology that I'm using to work from home is obviously it's the BT Cloud Work solution, but it's excellent. It doesn't fail me. My internet doesn't fail me, and it just makes it that much easier to get through this time productively. So yeah, I echo what you're saying.
So I've got two final questions on chat, but by all means we will ensure that people can ask questions on the lines as well. So the first one is a fairly simple one. Where can we review all the integrations available that Richard mentioned? So you probably saw from Richard's slide that there are 100+ off-the-shelf integrations that we have with Cloud Work. That can range everything from Office 365 and being able to see that within the collaboration of work documents, all the way through to Outlook and being able to do one click to add a meeting to your invites, G Cloud, Salesforce, through to niche CRM systems. There are a wealth of them, and they are available on ringcentral.com/apps. That's ringcentral.com/apps. Feel free to peruse that website and be able to see which applications are there, but all the main ones, as far as we're concerned, are within there. This just allows deeper integration with your software, so you can create that ecosystem with your Salesforce, so you can see who's calling your business. You can understand that business a little bit deeper, bit more personalized when you answer the phone to the person calling your business. Alternatively, as I mentioned before, it increases collaboration internally because you can see presence of your colleagues to be able to see who's working on a document, when, where, why. So that was ringcentral.com/apps. Will show you those integrations. And the final question I can see in the chat was, how does CloudWork support contact center agents? So I'm going to differentiate here call center to contact center. Primary reason for that is because I talk about call center being a inbound, outbound, IVR type scenario whereby you're making, receiving phone calls, and voice is crucial. We've seen particularly over the past few weeks how important voice is, and therefore call centers still hold true as an important means of technology. And that is available through the CloudWork product today. So I mentioned before about the wall boards, I mentioned before about IVRs. All that capability is in the core service. Therefore, if you get the CloudWork capability with the likes of a Connect license, then you'll be able to create your call center capability. However, it's 2020 now. A lot of people are wanting to communicate through social media, through live chat, through multiple communication means, and whatever may be on down the line. And therefore, you enter this world of omni-channel. As you get omni-channel, that means that communicating through multiple means via a single interface, and you want to make it simple for your agents. Therefore, as you're moving into this omni-channel world, as you're moving into skilled-based routing so that you've got an agent who is particularly strong on email campaigns, you want to make sure that all those emails go through to that person. Alternatively, you want to make sure you've got workforce optimization so you can see your workforce, who's working to their peak, who's struggling, they might need training. Let's recommend training modules for those particular people. All of these components is what I would define as a contact center. Now, in the contact center capability, we do have that add-on as part of CloudWork. Therefore, you get the core CloudWork components I mentioned before, the basic connect and collaborate, and then you can take it to the advanced and ultimate to then have the conversation around the contact center capability. So by all means, if you do have a call center or contact center, CloudWork can serve your needs as well. So reach out to your account manager and they'll be able to support you on that.